I fell in love with my mom's age, and she fell for me too. The rain pounds against the coffee shop window like impatient fingers. I'm hunched over my laptop, staring at a blank document that should be my sociology paper when she walks in. Water drips from her dark hair onto the shoulders of her burgundy coat. She shakes her head, laughing at something, maybe the weather, maybe life itself, and the sound cuts through the ambient noise like a bell. I've seen her before, 3 times actually. First at the campus bookstore, then at that little gallery. Downtown and now here. She orders something complicated, oat milk, extra shot, vanilla, no foam, and her voice carries the weight of someone who knows exactly what she wants, always. The barista fumbles with the espresso machine. She turns, scanning for an empty table, and her eyes land on mine. There's a flicker of recognition, then something else. Amusement, maybe. "You're following me," she says, approaching my corner table without invitation. My mouth goes dry. "I was here first. Were you?" She tilts her head, studying me with eyes the color of whiskey. "I suppose you were." She doesn't leave. Instead, she pulls out the chair across from me, and I catch a hint of her perfume. Something expensive, complex. Bergamot and sandalwood, maybe rose. "Mind if I sit? Everywhere else is taken." I glance around the half-empty cafe, then back at her. She's already settling in, unwinding a cream-colored scarf from her neck. The movement reveals the hollow at her throat, the delicate chain that disappears beneath her sweater. "I'm Elena," she says, extending a hand across the small table. "Jake." Her palm is warm, her grip firm. She doesn't let go immediately, and neither do I. "What are you working on, Jake?" She nods toward my laptop screen, still painfully blank. "Nothing. Apparently." Heat creeps up my neck. "It's supposed to be about social dynamics, power structures in modern relationships." Her eyebrows lift. "Interesting topic. Is it?" I can't seem to get started. The barista calls her name and she rises to collect her drink. When she returns, she's brought something else, a small notebook, leather-bound and well-worn. "Power. Structures," she muses, settling back into her chair. "Tell me, what do you think creates real power between people?" I stare at her. She can't be serious. "You want to help me with my homework?" Maybe I'm procrastinating too. She opens her notebook, and I glimpse pages filled with elegant handwriting. "I'm supposed to be planning an exhibition. Contemporary artists exploring intimacy and taboo." Taboo? The things we're not supposed to want. The connections we're told to avoid. Her finger traces the rim of her coffee cup. "What makes something forbidden, Jake? The thing itself or just other people's opinions about it?" I forget about my paper entirely. I think sometimes the best things are the ones everyone else says are wrong." She looks at me then. Really looks. And I feel exposed. Like she can see every sleepless night, every moment I felt like I'm drowning in expectations and mediocrity. "You're younger than you sound," she says softly. "You're not what I expected, either." "What did you expect?" I want to say I expected someone safe. Someone who wouldn't make my pulse race just by sitting across from me. Someone who wouldn't make me forget every reason this conversation shouldn't be happening. Instead, I say, someone more predictable. She laughs again, and the sound wraps around my chest like a warm hand. Predictable is overrated. Outside, the rain has stopped, but neither of us moves to leave. The afternoon light slants through the window, catching the gold in her hair, the curve of her mouth when she smiles. "You know," she says, closing her notebook, "there's an art opening tomorrow night, downtown gallery. You should come. Are you inviting me?" "I'm suggesting you might find it educational." She stands, gathering her things. "For your paper on power dynamics." She's almost to the door when she turns back. "Jake? Yeah? The most dangerous power structures are the ones we build ourselves." Then she's gone, leaving only the lingering scent of her perfume and a business card on the table. Elena Marchetti, curator. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. I stare at the card until my coffee grows cold, wondering what kind of power structure I'm about to walk into. The gallery thrums with low conversations and clinking wine glasses. I've changed clothes 3 times, settling on dark jeans and the one button-down shirt that doesn't make me look like I raided my father's closet. Still, walking through these doors feels like crossing enemy lines. Elena appears beside me like smoke. "You came." Her voice holds a note of surprise, as if she'd given me a test she expected me to fail. "You said it would be educational." She's wearing black tonight, a dress that skims her curves without clinging, that makes her skin look luminous under the gallery lights. Her hair is pulled up, revealing the elegant line of her neck, those small pearl earrings that catch the light when she moves. "It will be," she says, placing a hand on my elbow to guide me deeper into the space. "But maybe not in the way you think. The artwork is bold, confrontational. Photographs of couples separated by glass, sculptures that seem to reach for something just out of grasp. Everything speaks to desire constrained, connection interrupted. This piece?" Elena stops in front of a large canvas, abstract figures, in deep blues and golds, bodies that seem to be dissolving into each other. "What do you see?" I study the painting, acutely aware of her standing close enough that I can feel the warmth radiating from her skin. 2 people who want something they can't have. Or 2 people who are afraid of what happens if they take what they want. She moves away, and I follow her through the crowd. She knows everyone here, artists, collectors, critics who nod respectfully when she speaks. She introduces me as a friend who's studying social dynamics, and I notice how she never mentions my age, my student status, the gulf between us that everyone else would see immediately. "Elena!" A man in an expensive suit approaches, kissing both her cheeks. "Brilliant curation as always." "Thank you, David. This is Jake." She rests her hand on my shoulder, a casual gesture that sends electricity down my spine. David barely glances at me before launching into shop talk about upcoming exhibitions, mutual acquaintances, the art world's intricate politics. I should feel out of place, but Elena's hand remains on my shoulder, her thumb moving in small, absent circles that make it impossible to focus on anything else. When David finally moves on, Elena turns to me with an expression I can't read. "Bored?" "No, just wondering why you brought me here. Maybe I wanted to see how you'd fit." "And?" "You don't try to fit." "That's interesting." She leads me to a quieter corner where wine and soft cheese are laid out on white tables. She pours 2 glasses of something red and expensive-looking. "To breaking patterns," she says, raising her glass. "What patterns are we breaking?" "All of them." The wine is rich, complex, like everything else about Elena. We drink in comfortable silence, watching the crowd ebb and flow around us. "The artist," I say eventually, nodding toward a woman holding court near the largest painting. She's young, 26. Brilliant. The art world likes to consume young talent. "And older artists?" Elena's smile turns wry. "We become curators. We facilitate other people's visions instead of pursuing our own." "Is that what happened to you?" She studies me over the rim of her wine glass. "What makes you think I was ever an artist?" "Your hands." I gesture toward her fingers, wrapped around the glass. "They move like they remember creating things. And your notebook yesterday. You weren't taking notes, you were sketching." Something shifts in her expression. Surprise, maybe, or recognition. "You're observant for someone so young." "You keep mentioning my age. Does it bother you?" "Does yours bother you?" She laughs, but there's no humor in it. Touché. The gallery has grown warmer, more crowded. Elena fans herself with the exhibition program, and I catch a glimpse of vulnerability beneath her polished exterior. "Want some air?" I suggest. She nods, following me toward the back of the gallery where glass doors open onto a small courtyard. The night air is cool against our heated skin, and the city sounds feel muffled, distant. "Better?" I ask. "Much." She leans against the brick wall, wine glass cradled against her chest. "You surprise me, Jake." "How?" "You don't ask the questions I expect." "What questions do you expect?" "The usual ones. About my marriage, my divorce, whether I have children, what I'm doing with my life at 40. The number hangs between us like a challenge. Are those the questions you want me to ask?" "No." The word comes out breathier than she intended. "God, no." We're standing closer now, though I don't remember moving. Close enough that I can see the pulse point at her throat, can smell her perfume mixing with the wine on her breath. "What questions do you want me to ask?" She looks up at me, and for a moment the careful control slips from her features. "Ask me why I keep thinking about you." My heart stops. Starts again, harder. "Why do you keep thinking about me?" "Because you see me." Her voice is barely a whisper. Not the curator, not the older woman, not the carefully constructed image. You see me. I reach out, my fingers brushing along her jaw. Her eyes flutter closed at the contact. "Elena!" "This is insane," she breathes, but she doesn't pull away. "Is it? You're 20 years old, and you're 40. So what? So everything." But her body betrays her words, leaning into my touch. "Elena Marchetti," a voice calls from the gallery doors. "There you are." We spring apart like guilty teenagers. Elena smooths her dress, her hair, composing herself with practiced efficiency, while I try to calm my racing pulse. "Coming," she calls back, then turns to me with regret and something that might be relief warring in her eyes. "This is complicated," she whispers. "The best things usually are." She stares at me for a long moment, then presses something into my palm. Small, metallic. "A key! My studio. Tomorrow at 8. Her lips barely move. "If you want to see my real work." Then she's gone, swept back into the crowd, leaving me standing in the courtyard with a key burning against my palm and the taste of possibility on my tongue. The key turns easily in the lock. Elena's studio occupies the top floor of a converted warehouse, all exposed brick and tall windows that would flood the space with light during the day. Now, at 8 in the evening, it's lit by soft lamps that cast intimate pools of warmth throughout the room. She's already there, standing before an easel with her back to me. She's traded her gallery attire for jeans and a paint-stained shirt that hangs loose on her frame. Her hair falls in waves down her back, and there's something vulnerable about seeing her like this, unguarded, in her element. "I wasn't sure you'd come," she says without turning around. "I wasn't sure you wanted me to." She laughs, setting down her brush. "I've been standing here for an hour pretending to paint and listening for your footsteps on the stairs." The admission makes my chest tight. I step deeper into the studio, taking in canvases stacked against the walls, works in progress covered by white sheets, the organized chaos of a working artist's space. "You said you wanted to show me your real work." She turns then, and I'm struck by how different she looks here, younger somehow, more herself. "I stopped painting 5 years ago," she says. "After my marriage fell apart, after I convinced myself I wasn't good enough, that curating other people's art was safer than risking my own failure." She pulls a sheet away from a nearby canvas, revealing a self-portrait that takes my breath away. It's her, but raw, unfiltered. The careful composure stripped away to reveal something fierce and beautiful and heartbreaking. "You started again," I observe, "last week, after meeting you." The words hit me like a physical thing. I move closer to the painting, studying the brushstrokes, the way she's captured light and shadow. It's incredible. It's honest. She pulls away another sheet, then another, painting after painting, each one more vulnerable than the last. Abstract pieces that seem to pulse with emotion, landscapes that feel like memories, figures reaching across impossible distances. Elena. I turn to find her watching me with an expression I can't name. These are brilliant. Why did you stop? Because brilliant wasn't enough. She moves to a small table where wine glasses wait beside an open bottle. Because I was tired of being the promising young artist, then the talented middle-aged artist, then the woman who used to paint. She pours wine for both of us, her movements careful and deliberate. And now? Now I'm tired of hiding. We drink, in silence, surrounded by her work, by this piece of herself she's chosen to share with me. The intimacy of it is overwhelming, more personal than anything that happened between us yesterday. Why me? I ask finally. Why show me this? She sets down her wine and moves to stand in front of me, close enough that I have to look down to meet her eyes. Because you don't see limitations. You don't look at me and see all the reasons this shouldn't be happening. What do you see when you look at me? Her hand comes up to rest against my chest, over my heart. Possibility. The word hangs between us, heavy with implication. I cover her hand with mine, pressing her palm more firmly against me. Elena, Don't. Her fingers curl into my shirt. Don't think. Don't analyze the age gap or worry about what people will say or list all the reasons this is complicated. Just be here. With me. I cup her face in my free hand, thumb tracing the line of her cheekbone. Her skin is impossibly soft, and when she leans into the touch, I feel something fundamental shift inside my chest. I've been here since the moment I met. You, I whisper. She closes the distance between us slowly, giving me time to pull away, to change my mind, to remember all the reasons this is impossible. Instead, I meet her halfway. The kiss is soft at first, tentative, a question more than a statement. Then she sighs against my mouth, her free hand sliding up to tangle in my hair, and suddenly there's nothing tentative about it. She tastes like wine and possibility, like everything I've been searching for without knowing I was lost. When we break apart, we're both breathing hard. Her eyes are dark, pupils dilated, and I can feel her pulse racing beneath my fingertips. This is crazy, she breathes. You said that yesterday. Yesterday I was trying to convince myself it wasn't true. She steps back, immediately reaching for me again, as if she can't bear the distance. Jake, I need you to understand. I understand. I catch her hands, bringing them to my lips to kiss her palms. I understand that you're scared. I understand that this is complicated. I understand that I'm probably not what you planned. You're not. She watches my lips move against her skin. You're so much more than I planned. Then stop planning. I pull her closer, until there's no space between us, until I can feel the rapid rise and fall of her chest against mine. Her hands frame my face, thumbs brushing across my lips. You're so young, she whispers, but it doesn't sound like a protest anymore. It sounds like wonder. Old enough. Are you? Her voice is rough with want and uncertainty. Are you old enough for this? For me? Instead of answering with words, I show her. I kiss her again, deeper this time, with all the certainty I feel but can't articulate. I kiss her like a man, not a boy, like someone who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to take it. She responds with a hunger that matches my own, pressing against me with surprising strength, her fingers digging into my shoulders like she's afraid I might disappear. The sound of footsteps on the stairs tears us apart. Elena's eyes go wide, her hand flying to her mouth. Elena? You up there? A woman's voice echoes through the building. "That's my landlord," Elena whispers, smoothing her hair with shaking hands. "She has keys. Sometimes she—" "Elena?" The voice is closer now, accompanied by the sound of someone climbing the stairs. "Go," she mouths, pointing toward a back staircase I hadn't noticed before. "Please," I hesitate, everything in me rebelling against leaving her, against retreating like we're doing something shameful. "Jake." She presses a quick, fierce kiss to my lips. "Trust me. I do. God help me, I do." I slip out the back way as her landlord's voice fills the studio, Elena's bright greeting covering the sound of my footsteps on the metal stairs. But I can still taste her on my lips, still feel the ghost of her hands in my hair. And I know with absolute certainty that this is only the beginning. 3 days pass. 3 days of Elena avoiding my texts, dodging my calls, acting like the woman who kissed me in her studio never existed. I catch glimpses of her around campus. She's consulting on some exhibition for the art department. But she won't meet my eyes, won't acknowledge the electricity that still arcs between us every time we're in the same room. I'm losing my mind. Thursday evening finds me at her studio door again, though this time I don't use the key. I knock. Wait. Knock again. "I know you're in there," I call. "I can see the lights." Silence. "Elena, please. Just talk to me." The door opens so suddenly I almost fall forward. She's wearing the same paint-stained clothes from before, but her hair is messy. Her eyes red-rimmed. She looks like she hasn't slept. "You can't keep coming here," she says, but she steps aside to let me in. "Then stop running from me." "I'm not running." She closes the door behind me, leaning against it like she needs the support. "I'm trying to be rational." "How's that working out?" She laughs bitterly. "Terribly. The studio has changed. New paintings line the walls, dark, turbulent pieces that seem to pulse with frustrated energy. Everything speaks to chaos, to desire held in check until it becomes destructive. These are new, I observe. I haven't been sleeping much. I turn to face her. She's still pressed against the door, watching me with wary eyes. "Elena, what happened the other night was a mistake." The words come out sharp, defensive. "I was vulnerable. You were there. I let myself get carried away." Bullshit. Her eyes widen at the anger in my voice. "You want to know what I think?" I step closer and she tenses. "I think you felt something real for the first time in years and it scared you. I think you've been hiding behind that curator mask for so long you forgot what it feels like to want something for yourself. You don't know anything about what I want." "Don't I?" Another step closer. She doesn't retreat. "You want to paint again. You want to feel alive again. You want to stop apologizing for taking up space in the world. Stop! You want me." The words hang between us like a lit fuse. "And that terrifies you because you can't control it, can't curate it into something safe and acceptable. You're 20 years old." The words explode out of her finally. 20! Do you have any idea what people will think? What they'll say? "I don't care what they'll say." "Well, I do." She pushes past me, pacing to the window. "I care about my career, my reputation, your fear." I follow her, catching her arm to turn her around. "You care about your fear." She jerks away from my touch. "This is exactly why this won't work. You're so young, so sure everything is simple. Black and white, good and bad. You don't understand nuance. I understand that you're using my age as an excuse to avoid dealing with how you feel." "How I feel." She whirls on me, eyes blazing. "You want to know how I feel?" "I feel like a fool. I feel like a middle-aged woman having a cliché midlife crisis. With a college student young enough to be her, don't." My voice cuts through hers like a blade. "Don't reduce this to that." "Then what is it? Tell me, Jake. What is this, really?" The question hangs in the air between us, charged with everything we haven't said, everything we've been dancing around for weeks. It's everything, I say quietly. It's the way you see the world, the way you challenge me to see it differently. It's your laugh when you think no one's listening, the way you get lost in your own thoughts. It's how brave you are when you paint, how honest. She's staring at me now, her anger wavering. It's the way you kiss me like you're drowning and I'm air, I continue, moving closer. The way you look at me like I'm not a kid playing at being grown up, but like I'm a man worth knowing. Jake, I love you. The words land between us like stones in still water, sending ripples through everything we've built and everything we've been avoiding. She goes completely still. I love you, I repeat, stepping close enough to touch her again. Not the idea of you, not some fantasy older woman. You, Elena, the artist, the curator, the woman who's been hurt and healed and hurt again. The woman who taught me that age is just numbers, but connection is everything. Tears spill over her lashes, tracking down her cheeks. You don't love me, she whispers. You love the idea of me, the excitement, the forbidden nature. I kiss her. Hard, desperate, pouring every ounce of certainty I possess into the contact. She resists for maybe half a second before melting into me, her hands fisting in my shirt, pulling me closer. When we break apart, we're both shaking. I've loved you since that first day in the coffee shop, I breathe against her lips. Before I knew your name, before I knew anything except that you made the rest of the world disappear. This is insane. But her arms are wrapped around my neck now, holding me to her. Then be insane with me. She looks up at me with such longing, such raw need, that something breaks open in my chest. I can't promise you easy, she says. I don't want easy. I can't promise you forever. I want right now. I can't promise you anything. Then promise me tonight. She closes her eyes and I can practically see her wrestling with herself, with all the rational arguments she's built up like walls. When she opens them again, the walls are gone. Tonight, she whispers. This time, when I kiss her, there's no hesitation, no holding back. She responds with equal fervor, her body pressing against mine with unmistakable intent. We move together toward the couch in the corner of the studio, surrounded by her art, by the evidence of her reopened heart. Are you sure? I ask when we break apart, even though stopping might kill me. I've never been sure of anything in my life, she says, framing my face with her hands. But I'm sure of this. I'm sure of you. Outside, the city hums with its usual chaos. Inside, there's only us. Only this moment suspended in time, only the sound of our hearts beating in sync as we finally stop running from what we both know is inevitable. Show me, I whisper against her throat, and she does. Morning light streams through the tall windows of Elena's studio, painting everything in shades of gold and possibility. I wake to find her sketching in a notebook, her hair falling like a curtain between us and the rest of the world. How long? Have you been awake? My voice comes out rough with sleep. She looks down at me with a smile that's soft and unguarded. About an hour. You look too peaceful to disturb. I sit up, pulling the sheet around my waist, and catch sight of her sketch. It's me sleeping, but rendered with such tenderness that my throat tightens. Is this how you see me? This is how you look when you're not trying to prove how mature you are, she says, setting the notebook aside. Young and beautiful and perfect. Elena, I'm not taking it back. She shifts closer, and I catch the scent of her skin mixed with paint and possibility. What we did last night, what we felt, I'm not going to pretend it was a mistake. Relief floods through me. Good, because I was prepared to spend however long it took convincing you. Were you? She traces patterns on my chest with her fingertip. And what would that have looked like? Coffee shop ambushes, gallery stalking, maybe some dramatic gestures involving art supplies. Her laugh is rich, uninhibited. You realize this doesn't solve anything, right? The age gap, the judgment, the complications, they're all still there. I know. My ex-husband is going to have a field day when he finds out. Let him. The art world is smaller than you think. People will talk. Let them talk. She props herself up on one elbow, studying my face. You're really not afraid of any of it, are you? I'm terrified, I admit. Of losing you, of not being enough, of you changing your mind when the novelty wears off. Jake. She cups my face, forcing me to meet her eyes. The novelty wore off weeks ago. What's left is real. What is left? She considers this, her thumb brushing across my cheekbone. Love. Complicated, inconvenient, socially unacceptable love. Are you okay with that? I'm 40 years old, Jake. If I can't handle a little social disapproval by now, what have I been doing with my life? She kisses me then, soft and sweet and full of promise. When we break apart, she's smiling. Besides, she adds, you've made me start painting again. That's worth a little scandal. I look around the studio, at the canvases covered in white sheets, at the evidence of her returning passion for her art. Can I see them? The new ones? She hesitates for just a moment, then nods. Together we move through the space, and she unveils painting after painting. They're different from her earlier work, bolder, more vibrant, pulsing with life and energy and hope. They're incredible, I breathe. They're honest. She stops in front of the largest canvas, still wet with paint. This one I finished this morning before you woke up. It's abstract but unmistakably intimate. Two figures intertwined, not in explicit detail but in pure emotion. Gold and deep blue, with touches of crimson that seem to glow from within. It's us, I realize, not our bodies but our souls. What will you call it? Collision, she says without hesitation. For what happens when two people meet and change, each other's trajectory completely? I pull her against me, overwhelmed by the beauty of it, by what she's created, by what we've become. I have something to tell you, I say against her hair. What? I finished my paper, the one on social dynamics. She pulls back to look at me. And? I wrote about us, about power structures and age gaps and how real connection transcends social constructs. Her eyes widen. Jake, I turned it in yesterday, before I came here. What did you say? That love isn't about age or status or what other people think is appropriate. It's about seeing someone completely and choosing them anyway. It's about growing together instead of apart. It's about being brave enough to ignore the rules that don't serve you. Tears gather in her eyes. Your professor is going to think you've lost your mind. Maybe. Or maybe they'll understand that I finally found it. She kisses me again, fiercer this time, like she's trying to pour every word she can't say into the contact. What happens now? She asks when we break apart. Now you put together a show of these new paintings. You stop hiding your talent from the world. And us? We take it one day at a time. We deal with whatever comes. We let people say what they're going to say, and we choose each other anyway. She's quiet for a long moment, and I can see her working through all the implications, all the challenges we'll face. It won't be easy, she says finally. I told you I don't want easy. People will judge us. They'll make assumptions about you more than me. I know that. I hate that. But I also know you're strong enough to handle it. What if you change your mind? What if you meet someone your own age? I silence her with a kiss, then rest my forehead against hers. Elena, look at me. I wait until her eyes meet mine. I am never going to meet anyone like you again. Not at 20, not at 40, not at 80. What we have doesn't come around twice. You can't know that. Yes, I can. because you taught me what love actually feels like. Not infatuation, not excitement, not convenience. Love. The kind that makes you want to be better than you are. The kind that scares you and completes you and challenges you all at once. She closes her eyes, and when she opens them, they're bright with unshed tears and something that looks like hope. Okay, she whispers. Okay? Okay, let's be brave together. Let's see what happens when we stop running from this. Elena Marchetti, I say, pulling her closer. You just made me the happiest 20-year-old in the city. And Jake, she says, settling into my arms like she belongs there. You just reminded me what it feels like to be alive. Outside the studio, windows. The city continues its relentless pace. People rush to work, to classes, to lives that follow all the expected patterns. But here, surrounded by art and possibility, and the woman who's turned my world upside down in the best possible way, I know we've chosen something different. Something real. Something worth fighting for. Elena reaches for her notebook again, already, sketching our next moment, our next memory, our next collision with a world that might not understand us, but can't diminish what we've found. And as I watch her work, her face lit with concentration and joy, I know that this complicated, unconventional, absolutely perfect this is just the beginning.